11:33 p.m. and I just woke up from sleep and I got this really powerful download. I started hearing this song, Amazing Grace, in my head, and the energy behind it was so powerful that it brought me to tears. The message I'm getting is that it's an end of an era. A milestone has been reached, and the same hope and faith that you always possessed is both the same thing that broke you and healed you and brought you home to yourself. It was a double-edged sword, and through the darkness, that same hope that you thought broke your heart and hurt your soul, paired with the trauma and your limited beliefs and the pain that you endured and didn't yet know how to handle. It made it seem as if the very hope that got you out of the darkness was the same thing that got you there. All those nights that you felt alone and abandoned, and like the world had handed you injustice after injustice. Now that you've reached this milestone and you've stepped into this new version of yourself, you can look back with gratitude, peace in your heart, and clarity in your mind. The fire that once scorned you, molded you. The things that broke your heart open, left room for the light to get in. You now realize that you were never, ever alone, and that this was all part of a bigger plan, a bigger path that you were always destined to take in order to evolve and become unshakable. All the trials that you went through because of that light in your heart and that undying hope and faith that you kept through it all. You emerged from that fire that forged you stronger, wiser, and everything that once broke you lost its power to ever do so again. You found yourself by having grace for not only other people, but for yourself. Not only did you have grace, you became someone who embodied it because of the way that it transformed you. And by doing that, you in turn transformed those around you. There were times on your journey where you questioned your faith, and moments where you almost lost it completely. But every time you're about to give up, there was a little voice inside you that whispered, keep going. There was always a part of you who kept holding on to that last little bit of faith. And you noticed a pattern that every time things seemed hopeless, like there was no way out, that there were no answers, that there was no hope, that's when hope appeared in small little miracles, a small little glimmer when you had no strength to keep going. It was that little bit of faith and grace and a little divine guidance and help from above that would show up out of nowhere to keep that hope alive. You did it. You transmuted the darkness. You transmuted all the pain, and your faith and your hope and your courage to keep going became stronger than anything that came your way. You chose the reality that you created. You chose how you would feel about it. And that's what shifted it completely. You fulfilled your soul contract. You broke down those old templates. You saw through the illusions of the mind and the projections all around you, and you seen them for what they were. You found your truth and you embodied it. And you stayed solid and faithful through it all. You became someone that you could be proud of. The kind of person you always needed. The kind of person who beats the odds. The kind of person who is abundant, whose ancestors fight for them. You became the person you were always destined to be. And now you're about to be shown why you signed up for such a difficult life path, and how that little voice inside you that always told you that everything would work out in the end, and that in the end it would all be worth it, was right all along. Get ready, because you earned all the blessings that are about to rain down on you. You've waited lifetimes to close out this cycle that your ancestors never could. Congratulations.